Guys, I put makeup on, mascara, and a little eyeliner. Hi, welcome back. If you think you've seen me in this hairstyle and tank top before, you have. Because I'm filming the same day and I just don't have time or I care to change. I mean, especially the hair. The hair's staying in all day. But hello, welcome back. I am Dana, if you did not know. If you are here for the first time, thank you for watching. Might I add, you could consider subscribing. You could consider liking the video. If you are a returning viewer, thank you guys for watching again. I really do appreciate you. Also, you can give it a big like. Don't unsubscribe, but just like it. And comment below what your favorite sunscreen to recommend to a new person would be. So, that's what we're talking about today. We're actually talking about basically sunscreen 101. So this video came about because I talk to friends, I talk to people on Instagram, and it's kind of like, can you recommend a sunscreen for me? And I'm always like, sure, but like, let me ask you 5 questions before I do that. And I think it's important to kind of walk through all the steps that I think are important when considering buying a sunscreen. And maybe you're just getting into it. You know you need to use one, but you don't know which one. And it can be overwhelming because I think it's a really great thing, but there are a lot of sunscreens out there these days. Whereas in the past, you know, when we grew up, it was like 4 sunscreens and your mom put it on you and it was terrible and it stung your eyes. Now we don't have to deal with that. We have so many great options, but it now is quite overwhelming. So these are kind of the 4 steps that I go through with people that I'm talking to, trying to recommend a sunscreen for, and I thought it would be a helpful way to kind of think about it for you guys out there just getting into it. So let's get going. The first thing you need to do is identify your skin type. Now, this is actually important for all skincare, not just sunscreen. And if I ask you what your skin type is and you're like, ooh, I don't know, then we need to start at the beginning. We have a few different types of skin, and you can also have combination skin, which mixes some of them, and your skin can also change throughout the year or where you live. So keep those in mind. But it typically starts with dry, then you get to normal, and then you have oily. And in between those, you can also have sensitive skin, and you can have dry sensitive skin, you have oily sensitive skin, normal sensitive skin, and you can also have combo skin, which typically would be that you are oily around your T-zone, so right here and here, and then you have dry patches on the perimeter of your face. You can also have combo sensitive skin. You can have combo, you know, there are basically a lot of different combinations that you can have. So it's not always black and white. I would say for me, my skin typically my whole life was very dry. Now that the last few years I started a skincare brand, I got into skincare, I started taking really good care of my skin. It's pretty much normal now. It can actually go toward the oily spectrum, but that's mainly due to weather. I wouldn't say that my skin is actually oily. For oilier skin, you would notice that you have like enlarged pores. That's kind of one of the indicators. And I don't have that. So I think it's just a weather thing for me, but it's good to know. So if you are unsure of your skin type after listening to that, that's okay. There are plenty of resources out there. I'm going to list 2 different websites. One is just talking through it, and one is a quiz that you can take. And of course, there are a million others out there. So just kind of do a little bit of research. You can watch some videos on it and just start thinking about your skin. So you'll know if you have dry skin because it'll feel like your skin is parched, needs moisture. Just you might have dry, flaky patches. If you have normal skin, you really just don't have a lot of issues going on. It's not too dry, it's not too oily. And then of course with oilier skin, you're gonna notice like that you just have more oil, more sebum on your skin. And like I said before, you're gonna have usually enlarged pores around the T-zone. So those are kind of the key kind of signs of skin types, but it can also be a little bit more nuanced than just that. So I recommend just go figure it out. That's step 1. Step 2. I say this often, location matters. I live in the southern part of the United States. It is hot, it is humid. Right now, it's the middle of August, which if you know anything about that, you know it's like hell's front porch right now, and it's hot. It's very, very hot. You walk outside, it's literally like walking into a sauna. So for me, my skincare, my sunscreen changes dramatically in the summer. I just don't need a heavy one, nor do I want it, nor does my skin tolerate it. It just sweats it off. So if you live in a place like that where it's hot and humid, you kind of already know that. But if you live in a place where it's really dry, you're gonna need more moisture. And if it changes, like if you move, your skin might change with that. So don't ever think that like everything is just static and never changing. Things are constantly changing. In the wintertime, my skin does tend to be more dry, of course. And if I'm in air conditioning, like really heavy air conditioning all summer, it can be more dry. So take these things into consideration. Take them into consideration about when you're using the products, and that will help you immensely. The third one, step 3. What type of sunscreen do you want? Now, most people can get through the first 2. They can either figure out their skin type pretty quickly, or they already know it. And then of course they know where they live and kind of what the weather is like. But step 3 is the one where people get hung up, and it's not a big deal. We'll get through it. But you have 3 types of sunscreens. The first one is organic, or some people call chemical. So I use them interchangeably. I'm trying to get into the habit of using organic because that's actually the correct term. Chemical makes it sound scary and bad. It's not. And then you have the other one, which I don't know why I have 2 fingers now, but you have the other one, which is organic or mineral. Again, we're going to go with inorganic and organic, but I will also say chemical and mineral just to help you guys out. If you've never heard of either of those, but you have used sunscreens in your life, you've probably been using an organic or chemical sunscreen. Those are the simplest ones. They don't have a lot of issues. They just kind of go on. You might remember them from your childhood. They might have been really sticky, greasy. They might have stung your eyes. Those are what we call organic or chemical sunscreens. Now, if you have more sensitive skin, you might be a little bit more aware because a lot of dermatologists in the US recommend mineral or inorganic sunscreens. And they can help a lot of people. I don't think it's always the case. I think the filters, the active ingredients in your sunscreens are actually a bigger part of it than just saying like, use inorganic or use organic. But that's for another video. So for organic and inorganic sunscreens, you might have seen the information out there that a mineral or inorganic sunscreen basically blocks all UV rays, whereas an organic or chemical sunscreen absorbs it. That's a myth. That's actually a really prevalent myth. A lot of brands say that, a lot of influencers say that, and it's not really true. Both of them absorb the UV light. They do block some of it, but about 5%. So when you're thinking of a mineral sunscreen just blocking everything, people will say like it sits on your skin like a layer and it blocks the UV light. It does. It blocks about 5%. The rest of it absorbs just like a chemical or organic sunscreen. So just understand they both work pretty much the same and they are both safe. Now, it doesn't mean that your skin tolerates both, and that's a very different story. So finding one that your skin tolerates and works for you is important, but I think it's time to get over this myth of a chemical sunscreen being bad and scary for us. So step 4, this is how do you intend to use it? I know this seems kind of obvious, at least it does to me. So when I say that, I mean, what is your lifestyle like? What is your day-to-day? And it might change from day to day, and that's fine. But are you inside an office all day? You're going out in the sun some, but it's not excessive. Or are you outside all day? Maybe your job is outside, or you just like to be outside all the time. Or do you wear makeup? Do you want it to go underneath makeup? Do you wear heavy makeup? Do you wear no makeup? All of these things. Are you playing a sport? Are you working out? Like, what are you doing? Those are the things that you want to keep in mind, because not all sunscreens are going to be the best for everything. Like, I have some of my very favorite sunscreens that I would never apply before I work out because they will drip off my face. I will, like, if I wipe my face with a towel, it'll be a tinted one and it'll be all over the white towel. Like, I don't want that. It doesn't mean it's a bad sunscreen. It's just not for what I'm doing. And maybe you're just like, I don't want to think about any of these things. I just want one sunscreen and I don't want to think about it. I want it to work in every circumstance, and that's fine too. So just kind of know where you are, and that's a big part of figuring out which sunscreen is going to work for you. So now that we've gotten through the 4 main steps, you figured out what your skin type is, you figured out where you live, you figured out if you want an organic or inorganic sunscreen, and you also figured out how you intend to use it or what you are going to be doing while you use it. Now I have some recommendations for you, because that would be kind of a weird video if I talked about all of this and then I was like, all right, bye, good luck. Now, this is not inclusive of every sunscreen in the world. Of course, I have not tested every sunscreen in the world, but I do have a pretty substantial collection, and I think a lot of these are going to be ones that most people, either in the US and some international people, can find, hopefully. We're going to start with the organic or you got it, chemical sunscreens. And I think that's kind of the one that most people go to when they're first starting out in their like skincare sunscreen journey, because they are the easiest. Most of them are not going to have a white cast. It's just going to go on. You're going to forget that you put it on. You're going to forget that it's under makeup, that kind of thing. And I think it's a great place to start if you are like, I just need my very first sunscreen. I think with the inorganic / mineral sunscreens, they can be a little bit more finicky. They can have a white cast because of the zinc oxide in them. And they're just like, I would say like a more advanced level of sunscreen, but maybe not. Maybe you love them. So I'm going to kind of go in order of cheapest to most expensive. And I did try my hardest to find sunscreens that are available in the EU, because I know I'm based out of America, but sometimes people in the EU can't get what we have. So I tried my hardest. I'm not going to be able to get it all the time though. So the first two, I have the SOS. This is the mini guy, and I would love to purchase the new one. It's just going to cost me a lot in shipping, so I haven't done it yet. SOS SPF 50, I have a review on that. It's probably coming later, but it's coming. And then this is the Black Girl Sunscreen Kids version. So these are both incredibly cheap. This one was £5, but I think like the normal size is like 15 pounds. And this is about $10. You can get it at Target, you can get it at Walmart. I think you can get it pretty much everywhere in the US. They're just a basic sunscreen. So for the Black Girl sunscreen, I'm just gonna swatch it for you. It goes on very smoothly. It doesn't sting your eyes, which is a big part of the organic sunscreens. And I don't feel like it leaves an overly dewy or matte. It's just like a basic, great sunscreen. As far as SOS, it's pretty much the same. I actually like this one more, and if I didn't have to pay an exorbitant amount of shipping, I would choose this over the Black Girl one. Yeah, it's just super simple. And they both have an SPF of 50, so you're getting a really good amount of coverage. Neither one has stung my eyes. They're just like a very base level, great option. The next option is the LaRoche Posay Anthelios Invisible Fluid. This is often called the Shaka one. That, and I got the scented one. Do not do that, please. Just get the unscented. This is available in the EU. I had to get it shipped, so if you are in the EU, this is a really great option. It's a little bit more pricey than the other two, but if you want something that you just don't think about, this is it. Look at that, so easy. The next two are a little pricier and kind of for different reasons. A lot of these sunscreens are good for people that have drier or normal skin, but they do face the challenge, like maybe the Black Girl sunscreen. I think for oilier skin, this might be a little too heavy, too rich. So for people like that, Paula's Choice actually makes some really great options for oilier skin. This one is the clear version. It's kind of meant for acne prone skin, but I think it's really good for oily skin as well. It is very similar to the Anthelios, the LaRoche Posay, because it is so fluid and it just goes on. You don't have to think about it. It does dry down a little bit more matte, so if that's something that you're looking for, this is a good option. I'm not sure if Paula's Choice is available to people outside of the US, but if it is, it's a good option. If it's not, I have another one for you. So this is the Anessa. I will have a review coming on this soon. This is not a new one, and this is a good sport option. So the others I would say are like your daily under makeup alone, but not always the best for sport, because I find that they just don't hold up to sweat and water as well. This one is basically, I don't know if dupe is the right word, because it's not any less expensive, but it is kind of a similar sunscreen to the Shiseido one that I have reviewed here, which I love. Chef's kiss. This is similar. You can get it on Amazon. It's based out of Japan. It's actually, Anessa is Shiseido, and it pretty much feels exactly like it. What's really cool about this one is that it has this really interesting feel to it where like water doesn't penetrate it. And that's why I say it's a great option for a sport sunscreen. And it just blends in like a dream. You're not gonna have any issues. If you can't get this Shiseido one for some reason, this is a good option. I got this off of Amazon. You can get it on YesStyle as well. So those are my organic or chemical recommendations. And again, like I said, it's not all inclusive. These are just some of the best that I've found, and I think kind of hit different points for different people. Okay, so next we have inorganic or mineral sunscreens. And I'm gonna go kind of in order of non-tinted to tinted. They're all a little bit more pricey, and that is kind of the case with good mineral sunscreens. I have some drugstore ones I've tried, and I am trying some new ones, but I would say if you really need a mineral sunscreen, just spend a little bit more money. They're going to be a more elegant formulation, and it's just kind of worth it. Otherwise, you're going to struggle with white cast. You're going to struggle with chalkiness. In my opinion, it's not worth it. The first one we have is the Native. So this is SPF 30. This is the scented one. I have, what is it, coconut and pineapple. I love it. I think it smells really great. This one has 20% zinc oxide, and it is one of the best with absolutely no tint, and it goes on with about as little cast as you're gonna get for a non-tinted sunscreen. It's also relatively cheap. You can buy it on their website, and of course I'm gonna be linking everything below. But if you have more, like, I would say light to light medium skin, this could work on you. It's probably not gonna work if you have a much deeper skin tone though. Next up, we have two that are good for kind of middle of the road people. If you have like a more medium skin tone, they also work if you have lighter skin tones, but again, they can be a little bit of a struggle if you have darker skin tones because they can look a little ashy on darker tones. But we have the Tula. Again, I have a video coming for this. I can't remember when it's going. This is SPF 30, and what I love about this is the fluid nature of it. It's one of actually the most fluid ones, and that's why it kind of comes in that dropper bottle. But when you see it applied, it just goes on, like, look at that. There's nothing there. And it doesn't really have a super heavy tint, so I do like that because I don't like things that feel very like makeup heavy. I like it to just kind of cancel the zinc oxide but not be too heavy. So this is a great option. It is a little pricier though. I think it's like $38, so we're getting up there. The next one, which is a tinted one, but it's much cheaper. This is actually one of the cheapest ones I found. This is the Bliss Blockstar. It's $20, and I got it on Amazon. And the only issue with this, well, not only, but one of the issues is that it is pretty fragranced. It smells like lavender, and it is a little bit darker than what you saw with the Tula. Like the Tula, it really doesn't have a tint. It doesn't feel like makeup. This one can be a little bit more tinted, and it's kind of got like almost like a purplish haze to it. So I think on darker skin tones, it might come across as a little bit ashier. But this is one that I recommend for newer people that want a tinted inorganic sunscreen because it's so easy to find. It's very cheap. It goes on so easily, and it just feels really nice on your skin. If I had to choose one over the other, I would probably recommend this. And the only reason I recommend this over this is because I don't love the amount of the active ingredients in here. I know that your active ingredients are not the only part of the formula that actually influences the SPF factor, but this one has 3.6% titanium dioxide and 2.34% zinc oxide, which if you're going to be out in the sun like all day or out at a park, I wouldn't use this one. I don't think this is enough. I think you're probably going to have a better chance of getting the sun protection you want from something like this, or even a mineral sunscreen with more of an active ingredient. And my last one, which is, I think this video is live. This is probably one of the newest ones to me. This is the Live Tinted Hueguard. This is a beautiful, beautiful sunscreen. That's actually all I have on my face today. No makeup, no concealer, that's it. It leaves this just, it's like this orange-ish cast, but not actually like on your skin. I feel like it does a good job, kind of like the Tula, where the color in the sunscreen is just there to cancel out the zinc oxide. It's not going to leave a heavy layer of anything on your skin, and this is going to be really good for darker skin tones. If you have anything like with orangish or reddish undertones, kind of like me, this just works absolutely beautifully. It does leave me with a nice glowy cast, but that's mainly because it's hot today. If you have more dry skin, this could be a little too drying, but it is just a wonderful option for people that want a mineral sunscreen that they don't have to think about. I also love it because it has 18% zinc oxide, so I would be comfortable going outside with this one, and yeah, it's a good option. I think that covers all of the bases. I'm going to list the steps below and give you kind of the helpful tips that I've found or the websites. And then of course I will list all of these sunscreens below and where you can find them. But if you do have any questions, if you're just getting into sunscreen and you don't know where to start, just put a message below, put your questions there, and I'm happy to help because Sunscreen really is our best and like first defense for skincare. All of the other skincare you do is all for nothing if you're not using sunscreen. So keep that in mind. Find a sunscreen that you love that you're gonna apply every day, and the rest is gonna be a lot easier. So guys, thank you again for watching. I loved filming this one. I guess I'm a teacher by nature. I mean, I am. So this one was a fun one. And if you did like it, please do give it a big thumbs up. And I will see you guys in the next video.